At about 12:30 on Friday, when India were all out for 150, none of us, none of you, nobody would have expected this is where we would end up being. 3.5 days later, India have beaten Australia by 295 runs in the opening test of the five-match series at the Border Gavaskar Trophy in Perth. But that summation, that result doesn't tell the whole story. This has been an incredible performance by the Jasprit Bumrah-led Indian team after going into the series under immense pressure. And not just him, a lot of stories, lot of side stories unfolded, where Test cricket was in fast forward mode. And in this special episode of Diaries from Down Under, this is me, Gomesh, and Firoz Mirza joining.
Hello.
As for this special episode, we will dissect everything that has happened in the first test and what lies ahead for India. Firoz, first, welcome to the show. Your first thoughts? This has been a special win for India.
Yeah, you are right. Actually, nobody would have thought that this would be the result after 3.5 days. And it's not about the start. Even the before the start, the home series, the result, unexpected result, 0-3 loss against New Zealand at home. So everybody means even the die-hard fans must not have thought about this result, especially in Perth, where India or any other visiting have never won a test. So exactly means this is surprising, but yeah, the foundation was laid on day one itself after horrific show with the Willow. Captain, stand-in captain Jasprit Bumrah made it possible for India, and wonderfully they scripted a remarkable win.
In the lead up to this test match, there were a lot of subcontext, a lot of side stories as to could this be the series that ends a lot of careers? Has Jadeja and Ashwin played their last match at home? I mean, they could still be, but let's not get into that right now. But uh, did they, like, how well is Gautam Gambhir going to guide India in red ball cricket? And of course, Rohit Sharma criticism on his batting, his test captaincy as well, and him missing the match for the birth of his second child as well. A lot of pressure around Indian team, despite the mixed feeling of somewhere there is belief because India have done well in the last couple of tours. But the way India came out, the way Jasprit Bumrah came out after the 150 all out, where 7 players almost were all out in single digits. India were done and dusted in 1.5 sessions. Uh, but the way Bumrah came out and did what he did, uh, I mean, there is really no one else like Jasprit Bumrah, right?
For me, it's means if we talk about the match, the match itself is a story of brave calls. Before the match, the playing 11, if you look at the playing 11, coach Gautam Gambhir made a few brave calls. I know means Perth always assist fast bowler, but not going with either with Ravindra Jadeja or Ashwin. R. Ashwin was a brave call. Then handing test caps to two youngsters, especially in such a precious situation, it was a brave call. Then skipper himself made a brave call after opting to bat. So those 2-3 calls made the difference, because had India been batting second, the result could have been different.
Yeah. Or had India batted well till the
Yeah,
end of day one, results could have been
could
very
have been
different.
different, because even if they got bundled out for means 150, it somehow it worked in their favor.
Yes.
They got a chance. They wrapped up Australians quite quickly in the first innings, and
Yeah.
after that failure in the first inning, there was no looking back for Australians, for the home team.
In many ways, I think the way the pitch played out, like it eased out on day 2 and 3, despite the uneven bounce as such. But in many ways, do you feel the fact that the day one pitch had as much grass and as much assistant to paces kind of backfired to Australia, because India, unlike the past where they go bang in shot the moment they see bounce, these are India have a world class bowling attack for since Bumrah and Shami and Nishant came together. They've maintained, especially when they traveled overseas. Do you think where the only time I can probably see them struggling was at Baston in England, the one-off test, flat deck, India couldn't restrict Johnny Bairstow and all those things happened. Do you think, is it time for teams to, lay out flat pitches when India comes in, because they have probably equally, if not better, fast bowling attack?
Yeah, true. Means now the opponents they have to change their perception that they can bully India by preparing fast tracks. See, on fast tracks, Indian team is bullying others. Means no matter whether they are playing at home or away, and we have witnessed this from this test. And the other factor which I think I still remember on day two we were discussing how height factor worked in favor
Yeah.
of India, and it went against Australia.
Yeah.
So these are few things which I think Australia will keep in mind whenever they host India next in Perth, because uh, it's the Indian speedsters who have taken the most advantage out of that track. And somewhere Aussie pacers they air in their means they committed big blunders while bowling, because if you look at the bowling chart or bowling graph, the Indians were bowling closer to the batter, which was the way to bowl on this wicket.
Yeah, and the first innings, Hazelwood really did well. In the second innings as well, we have to talk about India's second innings, Yashasvi Jaiswal and Virat Kohli scoring centuries. But before that, just the fact that you look at the scorecard, India has scored 260, 70 odd runs. Josh Hazelwood, 21 overs, economy of 1.3. Like, I mean, no wonder he came out and said that, my job is done. I'm going to look forward to Adelaide, and it's up to the batters now.
Yeah, true. Means actually, you means test in this for longest format of the game. The batters plan according to bowlers. So I'm quite sure Indians must have planned according to the bowlers, and they know Hazelwood is quite a difficult customer to deal with. So they negotiated his spell safely, and they targeted specific bowlers. And Lion was not that effective because there were I don't think hardly there were patches where he could have got turned. So, and Yashasvi, especially Yashasvi Jaiswal getting out for a duck in the first innings, in his first test down under, coming back so strongly. So it shows the temperament and the way he approached this test, because somewhere I was hearing that he started preparing for this series right soon after the big loss at home against New Zealand. So mentally he was checked in even before coming to Australia. And if we talk about other batters, Rahul complimented him very well. He deserved century, but yeah, okay, 77 was
And
good enough.
an unlucky dismissal in the first
Yeah, and two
innings.
means partnership of over 200 runs. It somehow demoralized. I think it
Yeah, it
demoralized
did.
the
It did.
Australian batters and bowlers, and then Virat Kohli came in and he somehow found his form and he was wonderful. Means hitting a century in Australia, because expectations were very high from him, especially after means such not a very good series against Australia. So all those things added to the woes of Australians.
I think at some level, the Australian broadcasters would probably be more happy about the Virat Kohli century, because now, the series will get probably more popularity, and for them to, advertise it and take it to a bigger audience as well. But before Kohli, again, what you said about Jaiswal, uh, the way he batted in India is one thing where all we have seen is attacking intent and extremely aggressive. But people often forget that on his debut, he played 370 balls for a century in West Indies, and there were occasions in even domestic where he had batted for 70 balls, 50 balls without even getting off mark, because he's always capable of that. But uh, it was going to be an acid test for him, and how him and someone like, especially with Shuman Gill missing out, how big important was this knock from him in setting up the series for him as well as India?
Yashashvi, by nature, I think he's an aggressive batter. Holding yourself back is not that easy, especially coming out after that big zero in the first innings. But somehow he managed to do it. And the way he changed his approach in the second innings tells a lot about that youngster, because, yeah, you are right, means he has done it in the past. It's not that it's for the first time he has been playing that patient knock, but yeah, he did it in the past, but doing that again in Australia against Australia, especially after first innings duck, so it was quite remarkable turnaround for him. And obviously Rahul was with him, and he was there suggesting him, advising him, and having a partner like Rahul in such situation always helps you out.
Yeah. Coming Before moving on, we have to come back to the player of the match and Indian captain, stand-in captain, Jasprit Bumrah. He's something I think. Obviously, he's an outlier. It's an anomaly of such, but purely from an Indian perspective, purely from an Indian cricket perspective, you watched cricket for at least 3 decades, me probably 2 decades, but him for Indian cricket, for an Indian fan, Bumrah is like nothing we've ever seen before. Not just as a cricketer with his smartness, skill, and everything that comes with it, but also as a you know personality as such, where he doesn't shy away from saying what he wants to, and saying that fast bowlers are smarter than batters, saying that he's the fittest in the team. Uh, while saying that I know what answer you will expect, and all those things, and yet delivering, because the talk alone will never get you anywhere, and you'll get a lot of backlash as well. But every time he gets the ball in hand, he delivers, and uh, I think at this point we are going out of adjectives to describe him.
For me, he's a smiling assassin because unlike most of the fast bowlers, he'll come hard at you, but he'll not sledge you. He'll not abuse you. He'll not be angry all the time. He'll smile.
It's almost as if it's beneath him.
Yeah, he knows it. Matlab, even after claiming important wickets, he will be relaxed guy. Matlab, he will not say much after. Even today, Travis had wicket. It was Kohli was celebrating more than Bumrah. So he will smile. He'll just walk past you. He'll not say anything because somewhere I think he knows that he had plans for every batter and he executes his plan in a better way. And after getting them, he moves on to the next wicket. So that's the plan he has for himself. And obviously, being captain of the side, and after making that call of batting first, he has that additional responsibility of taking the side home, and he led by example. In the first innings, he showed the way for others. Yes, still we can do it, and the team did it.
And second innings as well, the 2 wickets late on Sunday.
Yeah, true.
That ball to Marnus Labuschagne. And yes, Bumrah was always expected probably, but how important for India is someone like Siraj and Harshit Rana, Siraj coming back to form and Harshit Rana showing that he belongs at this level, especially with this being a 5-test series. India will have to manage workload, rotate. In all this putting it all together, how important was the support cast coming to the party?
Obviously, means throughout the day, Bumrah cannot bowl for India throughout the day. Siraj has always been a good bowler overseas, and he did that in his last test overseas during South
Cape Town,
Africa
yeah.
tour. Yeah, and expectations were high from him as well, and he did it. Yeah. 2 wickets in the first innings, 3 in the second innings, an important wicket of Steve Smith. So it's not that Siraj, he was not that impressive at home, but at home you need you always knew that there are means for fast bowlers in India to bowl such long spells, it's not possible. Most of the time spinners do the job for India at home, but Siraj has always been there, and with Bumrah showing the way, he too grew lethal. And if we talk about Harshit Rana in the first innings, the wicket of Travis had in the second inning as well. So wonderful. Even Nitish Reddy played his part to the perfection.
Yeah.
He contributed with the bat. He contributed with the ball. And as you said, managing workload is going to be very important because it's not it's a big tour, very big tour. And you have to manage workload of pacers, or only 2 or 3 of them cannot carry out the whole burden of bowling throughout the tour. So you need to have options. Now India have that option, especially in the second test, third test. They can rotate the bowlers according to the tracks. So they have resources with them. And after the first test, I think it's going to be a problem of plenty for the Indian team.
Before going to the problem of the plenty that India has, especially with Rohit joining the team, we have to talk about what Australia has done or not done in this particular match. If India is a transitioning side, there is a lot of youngsters, quite a few debuts and all that. Australia is a aging side, to put it mildly. A lot of players, they are very experienced, but a lot of players are in their mid 30s, right from Steve Smith, Usman Khwaja, and Pat Cummins, and every single player who has been a part of this team over the last more than a decade or so, and they know what it is to beat India, but they also know what it is to not beat India for more than a decade. And it is at this time they brought in someone like Nathan McSweeney, who is a middle order batter, moved up the order, and he did well against India. He got the call up, but what a nightmarish debut! Duck in both innings, both to Bumrah. I think, yes, Pat Cummins said that there might not be massive changes as such, but they have a bigger headache than India do, maybe.
True. And for me, I think it's not an ideal preparation, especially going into such a big series where you haven't won for the last 1 decade. Playing your last test in March and then facing India, who have defeated you twice at home and twice away. So they should have played more tests before coming into this series. And for them, if we talk about the home side, the biggest worry should be the form of their top three. They are not scoring runs. In the second innings, Travis had played his part, and then even Mitchell Marsh, he played well.
Yeah.
But unless you get contribution from the top order, it's very difficult to either put runs on scoreboard for the opponents to chase or to chase a target, very healthy target.
You're not going to come back from 1-0
True.
all out.
Because Labuschagne has not been in greatest
Steve
of
Smith
form. Steve Smith has not been in
tremendous
greatest
pressure.
of form. Usman Khwaja, I know he has been the pillar of Australia's batting for past 2-3 years, but recently his form has he has a dip in form. Especially if we talk about Labuschagne, if we talk about his last 10 innings, he's averaging around 13. Same for Steve Smith, he's averaging around 23, 24 in the last 10 tests. So if your top batters are not putting up runs on the scoreboard, it's going to be very difficult for the Australia to make us come back. And one very it's startling for me, and very good statistics which I have come across while reading one story that Australia have never won a series after losing the test opener, after losing an opener at home. Out of 9 series, they have lost 8. So just hope they change the script this time around.
I think India would be hoping against it, but the next test is in Adelaide, pink ball test.
Pink ball test.
India got all out for 36 last time around. Let's
And
forget.
Australia have never lost a pink ball test at home.
Yeah, so a lot to play for, but there is a long break in between, almost 9 days, and India play a 2-day match against Prime Minister's 11 in Canberra, and they have a lot to figure out as well. Rohit Sharma has come back. He walks into the team. What happens to KL Rahul now? Will he be the temporary fix in the middle order with Jurel probably moving out? Will Shubman Gill get fit in time? He's expected to. If he comes, Padikkal will miss out, and will Ashwin come in for pink ball test, or someone like Jadeja might come in, or will they keep the same 11 considering the batting that Washington Sundar brings into play? How do you expect, while as much as India would want to rest up and recuperate, what do you expect for them to do from here on before Adelaide?
Yeah, true. Means before pink ball test, it's a good decision to play 2-day test, pink ball practice match against Prime Minister 11, and there would be changes in Indian side. Again, all the calls the calls will be taken by coach and captain together, the team management. Depending upon the track, they may make, and I think there are going to be a few changes. Obviously, skipper Rohit Sharma will come in. Skipper Rohit Sharma to solve. They'll do it efficiently, especially after this cushion of one. Means they are leading in the series 1-0. So whatever decision they take, I think it's going to help Indian side. And again, they are going to means it all depends on how they expect the surface to behave.
Yeah.
And if we talk about Australia, means if India are playing practice game before that important test in Adelaide, I think Australia, all the players are flying back to their respective homes.
Domestic
Yeah,
sides,
and
yeah.
they are playing, I think, domestic matches. So let's hope means second test will get more interesting than what we have witnessed in Perth.
And Rohit will be under tremendous pressure, do you think? Runs is not coming, and his captaincy has been questioned a lot. I mean, when India won that match in Kanpur, it seemed like he was on the top of his game, everything going his way. But probably one thing where you would want to give due credit is where he has accepted that there is a problem and acknowledged that he's not been great in terms of captaincy as well as a batter. Something that's very rare, in Indian cricket. You see a captain coming out and saying, "Yes, I was the problem. I was bad, and I'm not making runs." It's been a while since that happened, uh, but probably the last time was Dhoni, if I'm not wrong. But let's not get into that. But how if you, but he's a happy man now. He's just had a second child as well. Do you think uh, the fact that mentally he's probably in a happy place will bring the change in tide?
Yeah, given his personality, the way he has carried himself throughout his career, I don't think, yeah, pressure will be there on him, especially taking over from a captain who has created history in Perth. But that can work in positive way as well. Means already he has a player, he has a pool of players who had performed in Perth. Now he has, as we were talking about problem of plenty. So he has a lot of players to
Choose
choose
from,
out from.
yeah.
Yeah, so once they manage to solve that puzzle, how they make their playing 11 for the Adelaide Test, then I think he has been captaining side for quite some time, and he has seen ups and downs, quite a few ups and downs in his life as a captain. And now, though he will be having Bumrah by his side, confident Kohli by his side. So things will be different this time around. It will be not like New Zealand series at home, because as we talked about it while we were studying this, India are no longer the side who can be bullied by pace. Yeah, spin seems to be a problem. So I
But
think,
I don't think it'll be a problem until next October when they play a
yeah,
home test. So that is it for now from us. But a lot is happening on the sidelines. The IPL auction just got over. Teams are shaping up interestingly, to put it like that. And some players like Rishabh Pant have broken bank. Venkatesh Iyer for 20 crores. And then there is, of course, a World Chess Championship going on with D. Dingler and D. Gogesh, and we have Swarup Swaminathan there, who will be bringing you all the updates on TNI website, print, as well as YouTube as well. But for now, in this episode, we are signing off. We will be back after the Adelaide Test in another episode of series Diaries from Down Under. Uh, Till then, this is Gomesh and Firoz signing off. Thank you for watching.